Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, welcome, folks. Thanks for your patience. Tech is always a challenge. We have a great group here. This is a first for me. We've got 3 market centers. So Legacy, Living up in Solon, Elevate in Strongsville, Medina, and then we've got some individual folks. And if the individuals are able to turn their videos on, that would be great. We're going to talk a little bit about what this is, why you're here, kind of what we're looking to accomplish over the course of the next 6 weeks, 18 sessions. So buckle up. And Karen and whoever's leading with Elevate, we're going to then break out into kind of individual offices and have some intro time for about 10 minutes. So I'm Mark Sandvig. I'm the team leader here, help to run and grow the market center.
Gina Ferrer, I'm the productivity coach here, and I help recruit and train all of the new agents and agents wanting to ramp up their business.
If you haven't already, please grab a guide. Did anybody not get a guide? It feels like we got a good number. And please register if you haven't already. As a reminder, we are doing kind of a promo to incentivize you engaging. I think oftentimes we offer one-off classes. Hey, learn how to do this thing, learn how to do that thing. And one of the bits of feedback that we get is, hey, I wish it was more like sequential, building one thing on top of the next. And so Ignite is KW's kind of boot camp, particularly designed for folks that don't know much about how to do real estate. But for those who've been at it for a couple of years, you're going to pick up a lot as well. It's designed to kind of give you the core skills, helping buyers, helping sellers, mindset, lots of things. It is also designed, so each of these classes is going to be 2 hours. When we lead, so weeks 1 and 4, we're going to be leading here. We're not planning on doing breaks. We're all adults. If you need to take a call, if you need to use the restroom, if you need some extra caffeine, that's your prerogative, but we're planning on just moving through. And if we end a little bit early,
if it was 4 hours, we can do a break. But
yes,
it's the class is actually designed to be 4 hours. We decided that's too long, and that you guys can do the 2-hour lead gen work information kind of stuff with workshops, like I'm trying to say worksheets that are in here on your own. It doesn't seem productive for us to keep you here for 4 hours making calls and doing the worksheets face to face with all of us. So 2 hours will make you engaged more to come and not be like, gosh, I don't want to go to that 4-hour class. So there is some things that you'll do on your own after each class. I would suggest that you do that because it'll help kind of reinforce what you learned that day.
Yep, absolutely. It is designed to be highly participatory. It's a mouthful. And so you have no need for your laptops because you have a guide. You have no need for looking things up on your phone unless there's some exercise that I haven't come across yet. So we do ask for as much presence as possible. The world will continue spinning on for a couple of hours, and as much.
And if you want the credit for the class, you have to have laptops closed, Caitlin. And yeah, and because you do have to be engaged. So do you want to talk about the how you're going to get credit for coming and what you get for that?
Yeah, so we'll do a sign-in each time. We're going to be tracking it. And if you attend 15 of the 18 classes, so again, this is 6 weeks, Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 11. And if you come to basically 5 out of the 6 weeks, so 15 out of the 18 sessions, each market center will waive the company dollar on your first deal after Ignite. So if you close a deal, the 20 or 30% or whatever that you would normally pay to the market center, we're not going to charge you for that. That doesn't apply to coaching. For those who are in PC, you still pay coaching and royalty, but we'll waive the 20 or 30% as a nice little incentive.
And for those on Zoom, you have to be engaged with cameras on to get that credit. Now,
Correct.
that doesn't mean don't attend some of the classes, even if your intention isn't to attend all of them. Right, so it's kind of like I texted a bunch of you yesterday and said, you can't come to the whole thing, still come to the ones that you can come to because of the information you're going to get, not because the prize at the end. So definitely come when you can.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So let's break out by office, and those who are on Zoom, I think you'll probably just sit tight for a few minutes. We're going to go around the room, and I suggest Living and Elevate doing the same. Briefly, your name, kind of how long you've been in the business. And if you could boil it down, what's one reason why you're here. Why are you showing up today? What are you hoping to get out of this overall experience? And let's avoid repeats as much as possible, just to learn. Don't just say that. Say something better than that. So I'm gonna mute us, and then I'll give everybody like a 2-minute warning, but let's plan on taking about 10 minutes to do that now.
Preston. You're front and center. We'll start with you.
I'm Preston Donahue. I've been doing real estate for 3 years.
forget to do that at one of these points. All right, folks, we have wrapped up here. And so finish your conversations as you get close. Fun to hear why people are why people are here. And I think just a couple of themes real quick is I'm brand new and I don't know what I don't know, but I also appreciated getting out of my own way, habits. I think as KW, we're a learning-based company, and I think whenever you're done committing to resetting, I think, and Preston said the same thing, hey, being self-employed is hard. And so some of this is, I'm going to learn new things. Some of this is about about showing up at 9 a.m. every day to re-engage. Part of the vision of this class as well, I should say, is you come to this class for a couple hours, and then you go spend an hour or two or three doing not homework, but doing some lead gen. You're kind of in that mentality. Team teaching, we're going to ping back and forth. This is our first one, so have mercy on us as we
get a rhythm as we go through,
as we figure it out. So you see here, this is kind of their recommended version for it. We're doing a condensed version of this, but you see the learning and then the success system. The success system is go and do the work. We're not going to spend too much time on that today. As a real estate agent, we say you have two jobs. Jose likes to boil it down to make things as simple as possible. Generate leads and service those leads. And I think a lot of times people are drawn to this industry because, oh, I want to help people. You can't help people if you don't have people. And so a lot of this class is going to be focusing on getting the people and then servicing them as well. So this kind of breaks down how the course is going to flow. And I'm going to get my chat box out of there. Sorry. So there's 20 lessons that we're condensing into 8. A couple of them we condensed. And so we're effectively, if there's 4 major parts of the real estate experience, there's one, you being a real estate expert, you knowing your stuff, you presenting yourself like a professional. There's a lot of people in this industry who don't, or they do it because it's fun or because it's flexible or because they like HGTV. But we want people leaving this class feeling like, no, I'm a professional and I'm proud of it. I'm here to bring it. And so kind of the first section is around that. Section 2 is around, and you can see section 2 is one of the longer ones, generating that business. Section 3 is, okay, how do I then follow up? Okay, I get in touch with people, then very few people are looking to buy or sell this instant. So what does it look like to follow up and to nurture those relationships? And then the last section is the transactional stuff, winning with buyers, winning with sellers, negotiating, that sort of thing. So that's just a kind of a look at where we're going. Today, we're going to be talking about mindset. We're going to talk, there's going to be a lot of kind of KW stuff today. What's in our ecosystem to help you, what's in our belief system to help orient you, and then connecting it to kind of who you are, what you're looking to accomplish, kind of what motivates your why. And we're going to have an exercise that you dive into as well. This is Gary. Gary loves to get in your face. Anyone can do it. Not everyone will you? And I said in a class recently in our shift series, which is running concurrently of this right now, we want to be a company and we want you to be individual professionals who are serious about winning. Again, there's a lot of people who get into this business because it seems fun or it seems easy. It fits with my life and it's me focused things. But in any market, particularly in the market we're moving into, we want people who are committed to winning. And that may look different. Winning, Caitlin's definition of winning may be different from Ken's definition of winning. It's not about our standard, but it's about professionalism. All right, Gina, I'm going to shut up and let you talk a little bit about 6 personal perspectives.
We'll into the 6 personal perspectives. Some of you have probably heard me talk about that before. I actually do a whole 2-hour class just on the 6 personal perspectives. Today, we're just going to touch a little bit on it. And just to kind of give you an idea of what those look like. The 6 are commit to self-mastery. We're going to dig into each just a little bit today. Commit to the 80-20 principle. Move from E to P. Make being learning based the foundation of your action plan. Remove your limiting beliefs and be accountable. please ask any questions as we go, as I'm kind of going through each of these. Anyone who's got an example, please feel free to shout out on the Zoom or raise your hand in the class. We'd love to hear examples as we kind of go through. All right, so commit to self-mastery. Some of the traits with that would be knowing your goals. So this is one of the big things that we do here at KW. We start off even as a brand new person, and one of the first things that we do in your first couple of weeks is do something called your GPS. And your GPS is how you're going to plan those goals, thinking ahead of the year. What are my goals? What are the things that I'm looking to achieve? How much money do I want to make? And what's my action plan that I'm going to put in place to make that happen? But committing to self-mastery, a part of that is you must know your goals. Knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Let's talk about that for a minute. A nice exercise is to just get a piece of paper out and write down, what do you think are the things that you're strong at? What are your abilities? And what are some areas that you feel like you can work on? So like Heather shared with us, that's a great exercise to say, here's the list of things that I know I need to do better at, not missing opportunities, feeling a little more confident about passing out that card. Another exercise I've done in one of these wonderful classes we've been to is then go home and then have your significant other or some family member write down what they think your strengths and weaknesses are and compare those notes, because you want to look at what you think that is, but also it's great to look at what other people view you as. Knowing what those strengths are and weaknesses, then you can, excel at what you're really good at. So like, I've always known that talking is a thing that I like to do. So does Mark.
Guilty.
So we excel in that area. I was a communications major in college.
So was I. I didn't realize that. That's hilarious.
And then what are our weaknesses? Maybe bringing it back a little bit and not interrupting people and things like that. And then that helps us be able to master our personality, really. Knowing how to work with both your strengths and weaknesses and seeking the mastery of the necessary knowledge, skills, and habits to reach your goals. So, anybody can reach any goal. It doesn't matter what your personality is. You can be anywhere in the disc and be able to reach whatever your goals are. But knowing who you are, as I often say with disc personality, helps you be able to recognize what other people are, but more importantly, being able to self-master how to adapt your personality to somebody else's. So I know as a high D personality, I really need to tone that down when I'm around a C, especially if they're a client in particular or a seller. So self-mastery and committing to that.
I have a question for the group
Yeah,
here, and anyone on Zoom is welcome to jump in, though I realize it's probably going to be easiest to do it in the room. How would you differentiate mastering a thing? Oh, I've mastered scripting versus self-mastery. What distinction would you draw between those two things? Someone want to take a stab?
The actual discipline of applying it, you're not, if you master scripting, you don't actually use it, then do you actually master it?
Sure.
You're telling them how you do the scripting to the individual that you're working with and how you interact with.
So I think it's changing who you are.
Same for two people, two different types of people, it's just how you present to them.
Well, and I think my point is self-mastery is a lifestyle and specific mastery is fleshed out. Like let's use the example of the kid who's a slob in life and has bad grades, but is awesome at video games.
Yeah.
Self-mastery fail because you can be best in the world at this, but if the rest of life isn't working. So it's
You're controlling yourself, who you are in everything you do versus
Correct.
a thing I practice at.
right. It's taking initiative and saying I'm in control of I can control my mindset and I can control my actions, and that's it. I'll stop interrupting.
No,
Continue.
we please do. This is supposed to be a tag.
Yeah.
So we're going at it. All right, moving on. Unless anyone on Zoom has anything else to add or any questions on self-mastery. Again, this is not a whole big class on 6 personal perspectives, so we're just touching on each one. But I don't want to leave you all hanging there on Zoom.
We're good.
Okay, all right. Number 2, commit to the 80-20 principle. So the 80-20 principle is, you'll often hear someone say 20% of the activities, which we describe as the big rocks, or in the one thing, if you guys have read that book, are the dollar productive activities. So the idea of the 20% of your actions lead to 80% of the results. So that's a really powerful thing. So that means that I've got to take the 20% of my day, that 2 hours or that 4 hours, and make that time so effective that the result is the 80% of what I'm gonna get in return. So when you apply that, you're really plugging forward at being most effective. So like, I time block, I'm a crazy time blocker. Like, I don't even know where I'm going after here. I look at my calendar.
Yeah.
I don't have any room in my head for it. I can't remember everything. And so I'm plugging along and doing so many things in the day, but I'm extremely productive with that time. I have to utilize that time really well. So that way I'm getting 80% of the return on my investment, basically. If
Great.
that makes sense. Thoughts or questions on it, Mark?
No,
Anybody else? Moving from E to P. So E is when you're in the entrepreneur approach, in that field of entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is the stage of brainstorming and thinking and dreaming and what I want to be, and moving to purposeful approach. So I'll say, for example, my first year coaching, which was, I guess, 3 years ago now, I was in the entrepreneur stage. So I was just figuring it out. I was trying things, testing things, seeing what works, changing it if it didn't. The following year, I was much more purposeful with it. So I had more defined, clear vision on what was going to work and the things that I did with the program, which you can adapt to real estate too. So your first year in real estate, you're the entrepreneur. You're figuring out, what is my one thing? What's going to work? So I'm going to dabble in open house. I'm going to dabble in some internet leads, and I'm going to have all these marketing ideas on social media and things like that. And then at some point, once you start getting business, you really have to dig deep and then spend your time in purpose. So we often have a word of the year. So this I'll put out there for an exercise. Start thinking as we're entering the third, or I guess now the fourth quarter of the year. For next year, you should have a word of the year. My second year coaching, my word was purposeful. So I knew that I had to focus on that word and know that my loosey-goosey stage of coming up with great ideas had to get more organized. And that's where the purpose comes in. If that makes sense.
at KW, we say that we're a models and systems based company. We're not, you don't see KW billboards all around town, and that's very much by design. A lot of times people feel like, oh, what do I do? Or I'm trying this, I'm trying that. That's one version of being entrepreneurial. Another version of being entrepreneurial, to be honest, is, oh, I'm just not good with phone calls, or I'm just not this way. It's making the I'm this way and therefore I'm not going to do, or therefore I am going to. Oh, I'm bad with my schedule, so it is what it is, right? And it's kind of entrepreneurial is just making peace with who you are, which for some of us, okay, I'm a high energy person. I can relate to a lot of people. Like, it gets you to a certain point, but without models and systems in place, as we see here, it only gets you so far. If you say, oh, I'd love to have a team that sells a couple hundred houses in a couple of years, you're not going to back your way into that. It requires models and systems. And if you haven't read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, that's a one easy actionable takeaway, because the models and systems on how to build a big business it's literally laid out for you.
Well, yeah, any business. Are you going to go to the restaurant that just slops the food on the plate and comes up with a new menu every day? They have no organization, therefore they have no servers, and they have the cooks that come in sometimes. That's the loosey-goosey stage, but the food's really good. You've got to be able to know when you go that someone's going to be there to greet you at the door, right? So you've got to have systems and models. You've got to have organization in your business. This is not a game. This is not just how I'm going to run my family or my household, and everyone's just like, you can always tell the crazy agent who they got a crazy household too. You got to get organized if you want it to go well. You can't have a business that will grow and precede you if you don't have some type of nailed down systems and models. And really, you've got to be organized. And that's where time blocking comes in for me. And that could be different for everybody. Questions on that?
Learning based is the foundation of your action plan. What does that mean, Gina?
So I'm gonna read that paragraph because I love this because I know that it sounds crazy to you, but I've been selling real estate for 25 years now. That really ages me, but I've learned more. And when I say this, I don't mean this because it's a KW, pitch. I've learned more and have certainly made more money in the 5 years I've been at Keller Williams than all the 20 combined at other companies. There was no learning. I wish I had a me, not pat myself on the back. But there was not. It was kind of, you just go to a real estate company and you show up for a meeting once a week and they tell you a couple things and then you're on your own. It's a go ask the manager if you have a question kind of a thing, but you don't really know what your questions are. And so I didn't even know that I needed to learn more. So like, that's an impactful thing. So when I came here, it's not that I thought I knew it all, but I had been in the business for 20 years. I didn't know what the doors were going to open for me at Keller Williams with all the stuff. So that's why we say this class, and any class, it's not just for the brand new person. It's for the transfer agent that didn't get properly trained. It's for the agent who's at Keller Williams who never really engaged in anything and wants to make their business more purposeful now, right? So I'll read this. A learning-based individual appreciates learning for their own improvement. They know what they know. Wait, I'm sorry. They know. Wait, I gotta do this. Somebody knows.
So much know.
Yeah, they know what they know and know there is always more to know. So that's a key. You have to know that. I didn't know that until I came here at all. An individual who does not appreciate learning is what's referred to as ignorant based. I love that. They know what they know and ignore everything else. We come in contact with those people all the time. We have to deal with transactions with other agents that are that way. And so I have no problem taking over and teaching them as we go along too. But what I know, and I know Mark shares, is that the learning never ends. I have not gotten to the top of the mountain. I will never reach the top of the mountain, by the way.
One of my favorite phrases is to come from curiosity. I think we think, oh, I'm learning based, therefore I read a book or I attended a class. But being learning based is also, hey, you said something interesting there. Tell me more about that. It's viewing the world and every person that you meet and everything that you come into contact with through a curious lens to say, I know stuff. Gina knows a heck of a whole lot more than most of us combined about the real estate transaction and what it takes to succeed. But that doesn't mean that she can't learn something from one of you in a different facet. So I think it's viewing the world through a curious lens as opposed to I know my stuff. And
funny you should say. Our next slide is from Albert Einstein, and it says, I am neither especially clever nor especially gifted. I am only very, very curious. Thoughts or examples of that from anybody?
As Mark was speaking, I just made a connection with sort of
Yeah.
And I was asking the lady questions. Oh, so why is there a reason to do this before that? I was really curious to understand what the process.
Yeah.
So she asked, there's a lot of questions. I didn't know she was bothered. I didn't know how to take it. I just like to understand the process of things, as they're going on around me.
that's a great way to be. I'd rather err on the side of asking too many questions than doing too much of.
As for clients go, trust me, my clients who don't ask questions are always the ones I worry about later. Because I'm only talking and telling them as much as I can without questions. Then that means that later things are going to come up that they just would have known had they asked to begin with. And maybe it's rattling around back there and they just don't feel comfortable to ask. So I love questions. I feel from all of you too. People call me and apologize. I have too many questions, but you all say that, so everyone must have a lot of questions.
Yeah, be
So,
curious.
which is good, you know. I would rather you ask and need help and than you just float around out there thinking that there's no one to help you. So,
This next one, I'd love to do as a little bit of an exercise. So it's removing your limiting beliefs. And I think there's three major categories of limiting beliefs that can hold you back. There's beliefs about yourself, negative. I'm not good at that, or I can't do that. There's beliefs about yourself positively that keep you from doing things that you should be doing. Oh, I know what I need to know there, therefore I'm not curious about it. Whatever that is. It's, you know, it's perhaps overconfidence that leads you to stop growing. And then there's beliefs about what's out there, what's happening in the market, other people, etc. So I'd love for you to just jot down in the space provided there on page 1.7. What for you, not just like what are some limiting beliefs, but you know, get vulnerable on the page for a minute. What are the limiting beliefs that you hold about yourself, as well as about what's out there? Oh, I can't, you know, buyers can't buy in this market because of interest rates. You know, that's a simple example, but take a few seconds to jot down a few, and then I'd love for a few people to share, and we could share from Zoom as well. Let's think about our limiting beliefs.
Hey, Mark, when people in the room are speaking, we're having a hard time hearing them, so you might want to repeat when they do.
Sure, I'll repeat it back. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
All right, loud and clear. I'd love to hear a few examples from in the room, and then I'd love to hear a couple from Elevate as well as a couple from Living.
Okay. Anyone want to share their winning belief? I just feel like I don't know enough, which I'm sure comes with the territory of being new, but just the last one was very overwhelming, but I'm thankful for the team. So, and you probably know more than you think. Yeah. Anyone else want to share one of their limiting beliefs?
One that I had is I'm not from Ohio. Sometimes meeting my husband from Ohio, just was brought me here, so. But like, yeah, sometimes it's like, oh, you know, I don't know the area, so if everybody else from Ohio does, that kind of makes me. But
Yeah, and honestly, that's because, you know, one, you probably know more than you think about Ohio, but two, that's not, you know, you're still able to serve your clients fully. It probably hold you back a little bit, but, you know, shouldn't, so. Thank you. Did you guys hear?
It was a little muddy, but we could hear the volume.
Okay,
I don't know if that's the technical AV term, but what about from Living? Any examples from Living?
Danielle? You have to speak up because it's coming through my computer.
You hear me? So my limiting belief is that I don't. Can you hear?
You don't have enough
I don't have
time.
enough time. I feel like I have so many things going on and then like I just get like crazy. But I heard something the other day that like myself, everybody here, millionaires, billionaires, everybody has the exact amount of time in a day. They're just doing things that they're supposed to be doing. They're doing the 20%.
Right, right. That's right. Anybody else? Rochelle?
I'm so behind on computer stuff, like social media, that, know how to do our operating system, you know, so I.
Technology.
Technology.
Technology is your limiting belief. Okay.
Yeah, that's a common one.
Learn.
Anyone else?
And I think
I see in the chat, I don't have enough experience, imposter syndrome.
yeah, that's great. And I
Thank you,
think
Kate.
just Sure, as we figure out this multi-office dance, I think when we have these breakouts, I think I might just mute and take 3 minutes and discuss, just so that we can all be more fully present in this way. So we'll do that for the next go round, and we won't share this second. I think just a
Okay.
couple from me. Two that negatively for myself and positively for myself, I suppose. Oh, I'm unstructured. Oh, I'm disorganized, and therefore, I'm not going to be good at that sort of thing. It's like, well, okay, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be someone who's a C, but what does structure look like for me? And then similarly, as Gina mentioned, she and I both have the gift and the curse of being talkers, which is great, but it can also cause me to not shut up when I need to, or not, give the other person the attention that I need
Jose
to.
has more than one time handed me the gift of silence book until I finally was like, I'm trying to say something. I think he's trying to say something. And then it registered.
There's an activity on page 1.8 that's not on the slide here, but just for a quick second, there's an exercise here all about reframing limiting beliefs. So read the limiting beliefs below, and then rewrite each sentence into a belief that is positive and will propel you into action. I'd love, I'll mute and let's take a few minutes as a market center, as each office, to do this. How to make that positive that you can act upon, as opposed to just a limiting belief that you can't. So we'll take just a couple minutes to work through this. And I will mute myself.
Yeah, let me go. Okay, mine's opening. Let me see if I can tell you what. Here.
All right, you guys can start discussing amongst yourselves as well. Take 3 minutes to discuss.
Yeah, it's just done.
All right, we'll keep moving. I think we could probably spend hours on these. These are great examples, but don't circle back on this activity. I think if we're all honest, we all have a lot of limiting beliefs, and having a regular relationship with our limiting beliefs and being able to positively reframe, I think is a healthy activity. All right, number 6, bring us home, Gina.
All right, the sixth and last perspective is being accountable. So what does being accountable mean? It looks different for everyone, but I'll give a nice example. Ken, who's graduated phase 1 and phase 2 of coaching, has recently come to me and said, I need to be back in coaching. I need the accountability. So we have created a phase 3 of coaching due to Ken. So he's going to be our test market for phase 3. And it's because he was looking for the accountability part of it and someone to hold him accountable. And that's a great step of pulling all of this together. Being accountable is a tool to continually change the results in your life when you commit to being accountable. You're going to get your results from the 20% that you're putting into your business in the accountability phase. A person who's accountable and is that person who is in my own life in certain areas. I want to continue to improve my results. The purpose is a learning based person.
Amanda
So that
has
pulls
your
all
t-shirt,
those
and I know it
perspectives
has been in
together.
her car
And
for
you're
like
not accountable
since
to
the
yourself. So
week
the
after
way
you
my
asked me
accountability
for it.
looks
So
is
just so
at the
you
end
know,
of the day,
she's got it.
I'm not
You've seen
sitting down
her
with my
around.
iPad watching
Just a
Netflix.
reminder,
if
I've reminded her, she's like,
everything
it's in
isn't
my
done.
car, it's in my
That's
car, but
just
you
who I
haven't
am.
been
It
here
is
the
not
last
gonna
few times
carry
she's
over.
been here.
Yeah, we've been.
So, yeah, so we'll get that to you. Just
Emails
wanted
aren't
to make
deleted,
sure.
Thank
been
you.
responded to, the
I
laundry isn't
appreciate it.
done, everything's not done. I don't care if it's 10 o'clock at night. There isn't going to be any sitting down and watching Netflix. It's gonna go straight to bed then. Because my holding myself accountable is my mental checklist, my paper checklist, everything has been done. And that's how I hold myself accountable every day for those different things. Because that's how I want my life to look, I guess. So you have to decide, you know, what do you want your life to look like? And also, how do I want to start my day tomorrow? I don't want to start my day tomorrow with stuff that I didn't finish from the day before.
I love this this grid here, and we're not necessarily going to walk through every step, but I think accountable is having kind of predetermined rules that you're committed to living by, as Gina just described. But it's also how you respond when life, you know, slaps you in the face, which happens to all of us in any given week, whether it's I accidentally overslept my alarm, or whether it's I'm stuck in traffic, or whether it's I've got a co-broke that's incompetent or treating me poorly. Part of being accountable is am I going to take the path towards being a victim, denying what's going on and choosing not to engage with it from an ownership standpoint, or am I going to choose to be accountable, acknowledging the reality and leaning into it? And nobody, like, raise your hand if you want to be a victim. Like, nobody does. That's like a universal thing, but many of us act like victims on a day-to-day basis, depending on the thing. And so I think this grid is a really helpful thing that's worth a screenshot or worth a circle. It's been helpful for me just as I pondered it in the last couple of weeks. All right, we're gonna keep moving, and we're gonna shift from the 6 personal perspectives onto kind of KW culture. All right, KW culture, and this will be we'll do some market center based breakout in a minute, just to discuss what some of these things are in action. But I'm going to hit some of the highlights. So Keller Williams, part of the value of Keller Williams is you're plugging into the largest real estate ecosystem in the world. There's 200,000 associates across the world, which is the most by a long shot relative to other companies. So when we talk about culture, when we talk about resources, our local expression of it is a particular facet of it, but there's a much broader world out there. So we're going to talk about the mission, vision, values, belief system perspective. We're going to talk about Red Day, KW Cares, KW Kids Can, and a variety of other things. So mission, so I'm going to fire through this, and then we're going to spend some time on the belief system in individual offices. Our mission at KW is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. Gina, I'll put you on the spot. What do you love most about that? What do you connect with most about in our mission statement?
Currently, I'm in the legacies worth leaving.
Mm.
I just had a birthday, so, and I am think my daughter's just started to work with me. And so my son has expressed some interest in real estate. So that's leading me down the path of now, what does that look like in the future for a business that I can leave for my family? And here with profit share and so many other things and opportunities for multiple streams of income and future, I'm looking at what does that legacy that I can be building look like as I build a business in real estate and coaching look like for my kids to take over for me someday.
Yeah. I think one of the things that strikes me about our mission is it's big. I think the word, the job isn't in there. Plenty of people get into real estate because you want to make ends meet while being able to pick your kids up from school or whatever, and that's a good place to start. But I think one of the things that I've been drawn to in our world is Gary is always saying, think bigger than you currently are.
And I didn't, coming from someone who, I like that I have a perspective of coming from other companies and not just, oh, she's always been at KW, so of course she thinks that. I actually, most of my career was at other places, and I didn't think bigger. I didn't know that I could. So that was a limiting belief of mine. I thought there was a level that you got to.
Just as much as I deserve. And
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I work and I get paid and that's it. Now it's so much bigger within Keller Williams, and we all get to decide what that looks like for us.
Truly. All right, we're going to do a breakout. We'll mute ourselves and break out in our offices. So whoever's running point, facilitate a conversation about what are each of the Y4C2Ts, and then let's spend some time talking about a few examples. What might that look like in your life or in your business or as you relate to other people, your clients or co-broke? So let's spend kind of 5 minutes breaking this down. Mute myself.
a crazy question and I said, you know, Jim, I just can't help you with that. And he was like, oh, gotcha. Finally got you not to answer the question.
We'll bring it to a close in another minute here. We've got just a couple more here, so just another minute. And I am very much a work in progress on that one. All right, we'll bring it all back together here. Hopefully, everyone had some fruitful conversation. And this stuff, it can feel like corporate speak if you're looked at through a skeptic lens. And I would just encourage you, every few team meetings, we'll bring these back up just to kind of refresh. We want the belief system to be, Gary will say, this is our predetermined way of relating to one another. If we're having a conflict, let's look at these and say, okay, wait, we're not coming at this through a win-win or no deal perspective. That's what we need to make sure that we leave here through. That needs to be the way that we live. All right, just a couple things culture-wise. Each office of KW has something called Red Day. If you're new since May 12th of this year, I think that might be the actual date. It's typically the middle of May, where we give back and we serve in the community. We at our office did an event at a kind of outreach program in Massillon this year that a good handful of folks, we had 70 or 80 people help out this year. And we'll do something different next year, but being able to serve together. KW Cares is basically on a national level, and then we have a local expression. Ours here is called Legacy Group Cares, where we, hang on a second. Ooh. Okay, someone was admitted, that's good. Where we give back to people who are in need within our community. Someone, life goes crazy, someone's kid needs surgery, someone needs a well to be replaced, husband having brain surgery. Like we've faced all of those within the last 12 months. And on the local level, you can request help with that. You can give to that. You can give to that through your closings. We want to be able to be a community that shares and supports. On a larger scale, KW has disaster relief. Like there's millions of dollars that go out towards larger initiatives, which
And
is
they're probably loading
cool.
up as we speak to go to Florida.
Right. And then KW Kids Can, I don't have as much personal experience with it. You can donate to it through your closings as well. But it's basically Gary's passion for helping the next generation of leaders grow as well. So there's a number of classes that are taught through that, opportunities for kind of young, developing leaders to plug in and to grow. All right. I'll just keep talking kind of KW value and tools we have. When I'm sitting down and talking with someone about Keller Williams, there's lots of things that we can choose to talk about. You can choose to talk about the financial structure. You can choose to talk about the great training environment. You can choose to talk about the technology. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to value. Do you have the value that you need to run the sort of business that you want? So from a training standpoint, I like to talk in 3 levels. There's the KW level, Connect and Connect Live, local and regional training. There's events like Family Reunion and Mega Camp, which happen in person as well as virtually these days. This class is taught through KW tools. So there's kind of aerial support from on high, so to speak. And you can at any point on any day, go to KW Connect and look up something. I want to watch someone talk about X, Y, or Z. There's a limitless library of stuff to look through there. Then on a local level, we put together a monthly training calendar. We've got them out there. We have 15 to 20 classes a month.
Yeah, almost every day.
Yeah, it's and it can be overwhelming. And if and each market center does it a little bit differently, you're getting emails, it's on Facebook, it's on print form. Caitlin helped us put it in so many different places. There's a Google Calendar that you can just copy over, find out what works for you and commit to coming to 2, 3, 4, 5 classes a month, not 18 or 20. And we never want someone after being with us for a few months to say, gosh, there just wasn't enough learning opportunities here. Like that should never happen. And then on a more specific level, we have productivity coaching, which helps agents learn the ropes and learn how to figure out what's up from down and how to focus on the right activities, which Gina does so well here and that we have in each of our market centers. As you grow, as you reach the point where, okay, the training wheels are off and I want to get to the next level, KW also has a coaching company called MAPS. Mega Agent Productivity System is what that stands for. And it's for the person who says, how do I get to that next level? We have 8 or 10 agents that are MAPS clients here. It's at that point where I'm making a living. I know I can do this. I want to go from being an entrepreneur to really running a business. And I can't speak highly enough of what they do and what Gina does. From a technology standpoint, I wish Lynn was here so I could brag on her. Technology is not just having the tools, but it's also having the support and the resourcing to help utilize those tools.
And she'll be co-hosting tomorrow
She'll be back
to go over that.
in tomorrow. And so there's a lot under the hood with Command and your ability. And I know someone said earlier, I think at Living, that technology can be a limiting belief. Oh, I'm not good with technology, or I'm afraid of all that. Or you don't have to be a genius, but you do need to engage with technology to help grow your business as well as to find efficiencies within your business. Is Command perfect? No. Is it good? Yes. Is it adequate for everything that most of you would need to do? Absolutely. There are teams that sell 400 units a year that only utilize Command. And so if they can, you can. And if you're not currently plugging in with Lynn to figure out how to utilize it at the highest level possible, I would encourage you to do just that. There's an app. I'm going to skip through that. Finally, profit share and growth share. For those of you who you should all be aware, because when you came on, you would have named a sponsor to come. That was the person that was most influential in introducing you to KW leadership and to help make that decision to move forward. KW as a profit sharing company, basically every month we share half of our profits back with the agents that help the market center to grow. Last year we shared $521,000 here, and each market center is going to be a little bit different. But it was put in place as you think about the value and Gary's perspective on things, because agents are on irregular income. Most of them aren't good at saving. Oh, how can I save when some months I make $0 and some months I make 10 grand? And so profit share was put in place basically as an added option for people to have supplemental supportive income. We have at our office, 42% of our agents participate in it. If you're saying, I want to, but I'm not, and I would love to learn how to, talk with me and come to our growth committee, because that's all about helping the Market Center to grow and getting in relationship with people that may either come over or get into real estate, and for you to be an instrumental part of that. All right, let's jump into, I'll hit this and then we'll fly. Part of the KW ecosystem, there's a mortgage company, there's an insurance company, there's an offers company, which helps fix up homes to make them more easily sold. There's actually a property management company. There's a lot of different kind of communities under the hood to help you provide more value. You don't need any of these things in order to run a real estate business, but I wanted to keep this up here to give you an impression for kind of what's possible. Similarly, there are communities. Hey, if you want to focus on commercial, if you want to focus on luxury, not that there's loads of luxury in this part of the state. If you're in a market where there's sports and entertainment, if you want to kind of find a niche where you can appeal to clients and swim in waters with other agents that are focusing on those things, there are those options. Commercial and land are probably the two that are most applicable for where we are. But we have some in kind of broader Northeast Ohio that are in luxury as well. All right, let's hop over to Gina. Is everyone doing okay pace wise? All right, Gina.
So now we're gonna change our mindset over to yourself personally and why you thought about or are thinking about or why you got into real estate. So start thinking about what was my reason to get into real estate. Some people, their reason was, well, I knew someone who was really successful in real estate, so I wanted to do it because I saw how good they did. Or it's because it allows me to have the flexible time I need to be able to be dual career, or whatever those things are. So we're gonna, in this section, do some exercises about that. So start getting yourself in the mindset of, you know, what drew you to this career and what is it about real estate that excites you? You know, what is the thing that is the most exciting about real estate to you? Is it meeting people? Is it getting out there and, you know, growing a business for yourself? Is it the money? Is it the flexibility? What exactly is that? And then what do you intend to do? What is it that you see and what is your vision for yourself and your family? Because most of us aren't just doing this for ourselves, right? I think it was at Bold last year. I loved something someone said, I forget who the trainer was.
Scott something.
Yeah.
Toombs, Scott
there it
Toombs.
is, yeah.
Yep.
And I love what he said, and I thought this was a great exercise. So I would challenge you all to think about doing this. Write a letter to your write 2 letters to your family, actually. One letter is saying what you've done to provide them the life that you have envisioned for them and yourself, and put it in an envelope. And then write another letter that says, I'm sorry that I didn't provide this life for you that we could have had, and put it in an envelope. And hang both of them on your refrigerator. And every day, look at those letters and decide what you're gonna do with your day. It really puts things into perspective. Do you want to get to a point in your life where you say, those were the things that I could have brought into my world, like whatever that looks like? Maybe that's, I want to be able to send my kid to college and not have to have him have debt after he gets out. Or big vacations with my family is important to me. Or just being able to live and pay my bills, whatever that looks like for you. What does that design look like? And every single day when you get up and you know that you have got an 8-hour-a-day job because this is your full-time job, how am I going to fill my time? I mean, we are here to tell you what to do. We have the systems, we have the tools, and we teach you all the things. But if you don't leave here and then go do those things with your time, we can't help you sell houses. You have to do the stuff. And it's really important to figure out why you're doing it and know it and look at it. That's why we always say, look at your GPS, look at these tools. And so one, what's my big why? Why am I doing this? And what's the life that I want for myself and my family? And then what do I need to do to make that happen?
Mhm.
So start getting in that train of thought. So I'm not sure what page, because I'm on the instructor,
Do you want this one?
the big
or
why, your big
This
why.
one, 1.16.
Yep, so yeah, in that page there, it's your big life. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a couple of minutes, maybe 5 minutes or so. And what I would love for you to do is, this is your big life. This isn't just my life to get by. This is what are my dreams? What do I want? If I can control and have the business that I really, really want and that I'm striving for, what does that look like? So it's extra. It's not just, I want to be able to work a job and pay my bills. It's
Yeah.
all the extra things. Like, I didn't know that I could strive for in 1 year saving my entire son's college education. But I did last year. I didn't know that I could strive for that. That's a huge thing because I wasn't saving for it. So that was something that was in my big life 5 years ago, and I made it happen. So that's the kinds of things.
So these are big bucket items.
Yeah.
The would like to do, plan to do. It's
If
not,
I had the money, I would do that.
yeah,
So there's a couple examples, would give this money to charity or whatever that looks like, buy my parents a house or, let my parents retire. So go ahead and take a minute in the center there. You're going to write, what does that number look like? What do I have to make that happen?
right. So if you're following along, here's an example. Donate cat habitat, $5,000. Help Sarah and Hunter get
someone shared
a PowerPoint. $120,000. Help mom and dad pay off their mortgage. And I think they've added, I don't know where the 364 came from.
I guess I left some blanks for you to fill in.
Yeah, left some
but-
blanks to fill in. Consider 3, 4, 5, 6 things that you're interested in, passionate about, would love to be able to do with your big life. And come up with a financial estimate for what that might be.
We'll just take maybe 3 minutes. I can write that down. So as you guys are finishing that up, so this is like your big why. This is why you do this. So every day when you get up and you're deciding, what am I gonna do with my day in real estate? These are some of the things. This is why you're doing it.
And even more specifically than what am I going to do today? As I'm sitting in front of the phone saying I don't like doing the phone stuff or whatever the lead generation, it's being able to get granular and say, by not doing this thing, I'm choosing to
Wrong
not
envelope
have
on
this
the
thing.
grid.
Yeah, I'm choosing the wrong envelope.
Yeah.
Which we all do every day in different ways.
And just because you did that last week doesn't mean you have to do that this week, moving forward.
Yeah.
So let's move on to what does that look like for you in your income and what do I need to do? Like, what do I need to do to make this happen? And how does that look for income? Because obviously, can you go to the next slide?
Yes, sure can. Thank you.
See where I'm at on my instructor page here. Okay, so where do your commission dollars go to? So obviously, if we just use an easy example of, 3% commission on $100,000 house, how does that all get divided up? So we need to obviously take into account that Every house we sell, there's another agent who's getting a piece of the commission. Your market center, no matter what company you work for, your market center is taking a piece. In some way, shape, or form, whether it's a flat fee or a percentage, they're taking a piece. Business expenses can consist of a lot of things. This is something that I think people fail to build into their business, especially as new people. So let's talk quick about some of those expenses. One of them is signs and lock boxes and the tools that you need. You wouldn't be a roofer without, you wouldn't show up without like a nail gun, right? So like you need to have some tools. Another business expense is coaching and training and classes that you go to. That's a business expense. That's not a percentage that you're just giving. That's you're getting a product for that. Taxes you have to pay. And then after all of those
MLS
things,
dues, board dues,
expenses,
anything related to marketing above and beyond those things, if you're spending.
buying leads, if you're boosting posts on social media, if you're printing postcards, all of those obvious things, and then some are part of your expenses. And it's harder to see as an overall picture because it's not coming out individually of each commission. It's just money that you're spending to be able to bring business later.
Just on that for a quick second. So this is another model. We talk about being purposeful. There's a budget model in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. There's expenses and then there's cost of sale. So anything that only comes out of a commission, so coaching or an Opcity referral or whatever, that's a cost of sale. And then expenses are things that you're spending money on regardless of whether deal closes or not. So dues, if you're spending on a referral source that's not tied to the sale, signage, that sort of thing. Your expenses as a solo agent should be around 20%. And to think like a business owner, a lot of people are like, oh gosh, they're just, board just taking more of my money. And no, that's an expense of your business. You're a business owner. It's not anyone taking anyone's money. It's what you signed up for. So as you think about your goals, like, if you need 50 grand to live on, you need to make 80 or 90 as you think taxes and then your expenses as well. But think like a business owner. Sorry.
No,
Continue.
it's okay. And then when you take all those things combined, you're gonna come up with I guess we just gave that example. You're gonna come up with what you need to make, but you do need to consider how much more do I need to make to be able to take home? I mean, this is a commission job. You don't have to figure out those things when you're getting paid a W-2 job because it all just comes out for you and then you get your paycheck. But you are a business owner as a self-employed person. And so you should know your numbers. You should know, what do I need to make? And then what do I need to take home, which is two very different things. All right.
So should we walk through this exercise briefly then?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay.
I don't have it in mind. so go
Okay,
ahead.
so you see the example up here and just the your big life exercise. I was confused on this at first. You're not going to make in 1 year what funds your big life. If you do, congrats on the smallest of your vision or the largest of your income. But for me, I'm like, I'm not going to make 800 grand this year. But funding my kids' college, a vacation home, an annual big vacation, a significant amount of generosity. That's something I'm building towards. So your big life portion, whatever you did there, have that in view, kind of the envelope, writing a letter to yourself, and then factor that in as you think about your net income goal. What do you need? And then, okay, I need 50 grand a year to live on, again, just as an example. And then what buffer do I want to build in to help me move towards the things that are my big why? Because you're not gonna accomplish your big why in 1 year. Otherwise, it wasn't big enough. So this exercise is meant to be run from top to bottom. So starting with, what is your net income goal? And this is just an example here. If you're looking to make $100,000 a year, and this is a template not based upon our numbers, with a $30,000 company dollar and royalty cap. Our number for that is 18,000, between 15,000 as a solo agent, company dollar, and then $3,000 royalty. Come up with a number for business expenses. You know, you can be broad there, but somewhere around maybe $5,000 as a low end. That should lead you to your average, to your total GCI. So D minus C and B should equal A. Does that make sense? So spend a minute doing that. We close.
So once you have that number, looking at what the average price is in our market and the average commission, so we'll say we're about 200 now on
So
average.
our average sale price is like 190
Yeah.
and our average commission per deal is 5,600 as of August or through August for us this year. So then if you're bringing in, so say your line D number is 100,000, just for the sake of simplicity. You're dividing that 100,000 into line E, I'll say 5,600, unless you're selling luxury homes on the regular or you're selling mobile homes on the regular.
Trying to go with the average.
Yeah, let's just go average. So $100,000. And for different market centers, those numbers are probably going to be a little bit higher. 100,000 divided by 5,600, that's 17.85 annual transactions in order to get you towards 100 in GCI.
So you should be able to know, one, what's my big why? Why am I doing this? How much do I need to make and want to make to be able to fulfill the life that I'm trying to live realistically? With that, with those calculations in mind, and I break it down by the average price and commission, how many houses I have to sell this year to make.
Let's take 3 minutes at individual offices and just kind of debrief ahas or takeaways for those who maybe this is the first time looking at numbers in this way, or how does this make you think or approach your business? So I'm going to mute myself and take 3 minutes to discuss with your groups. Hey, we'll come back together as you guys conclude those parts of your conversations. We want this activity to be clarifying for you as a business owner. There's too many people, oh, I sold 10 houses, which equals this commission, which means I made this much. It's like, yeah, kind of true, but not really true. And if you want to stay in this business, definitely not true, because you need to be like, oh, you can't have too many oh crap bills because you're just not expecting dues and taxes. Yeah, the number of agents in their first year who've sold a bunch, like, oh, I'm used to getting a little bit back at tax time, not having to write a check for multiple $1,000. The more you're paying, the better in one sense, because it means you had a good year, but don't be surprised. All right, Gina, let's talk.
Which leads us into, now I've got my goal, I know what my expenses are, and I know how to divide that out into what does that look like and how many houses I have to sell this year to make that happen financially for me. Now, putting it all together, how does that look like, to me personally on a daily basis, on a weekly basis? I'll say we're gonna roll into what, especially while you're in Ignite. So this is some exercise that we're gonna say, this is what you should go and do now every day while in Ignite for your goal. If it looks like too much, maybe this number isn't your number. It's not all or nothing. You adjust from there.
Yeah.
So what I'm about to say may sound like, wow, that's a lot. That's okay. It might be a lot. So adjust it. Don't just not do it, I guess. So those successful agents do some of the things in a high level, and it doesn't have to be everything all the time. For everyone doesn't do the same. Is what I'm getting at.
Right. That is not, the
Okay.
daily success system is not, so pay attention.
Okay, sorry. I
Look
I have
lively.
the instructor book, so I
Yes.
didn't know. All right, so here's where we're gonna start. So what this is gonna look like to have success, and as like in bold, you should have so many transactions while you're in the 8-week bold program. Here in Ignite, it also talks about having so many transactions too, while you're doing Ignite. This is how you're gonna make it happen. 10 conversations a day. So let's talk about that. That's not 10 voicemails. That's not 10 text messages. It's conversations. So that means engaged with 10 people, whether that's over the phone or in person. You've had a meaningful conversation with 10 people every day, 5 days.
That 10 new people each day.
It's not nurture.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely new.
Okay.
If that sounds like, whoa, that's a lot, then make it 2.
Yeah,
It's still better.
it's more about the habit than it is about the
is,
number.
It
Yeah.
is. That's a heavy load. Because I just talked about this yesterday and Dominate the Week. Who in the world am I gonna call? Well, if you look in your contacts, most of us, if you go to the bottom, it tells you the total contacts you have.
Mhm.
And all those people are not in the 7-year cycle of buying or selling. They are in the, I know you, this is not a cold call, and who do you know that would be someone that might be looking to buy or sell, and you're getting a referral from them. 10 contacts added to your database. So now you're adding 10 new contacts to your database per day, or 5 or 2. 10 handwritten note cards a day. So that's a real easy one. People tend to think, well, gosh, I wouldn't know 10 people to write a note card to in a week. So again, that can include farming an area. You can do those postcards that get sent out right for you from Breakthrough Broker or from Jessica's Total Expert. Honestly, what I do too for handwritten note cards is every time I sell a house, whether it's my listing or my buyer, I start with their neighbors, 10 of them. And I say something very simple. Hey neighbor, I sold, or the person's name, I don't think.
Hey, neighbor.
Yeah, yeah. Don't say hey neighbor, because they're gonna know that this was some kind of a form letter that
Yeah,
went to
yeah, yeah.
everybody. So you can find, and I will tell you later how you can find their names and information, but hey Preston, I sold your neighbor's house at 123 Main Street, and we sold in 2 weeks for full price. Let me know if you have interest in finding out what the value of your home is in comparison. And do 10 of them. And then tomorrow, 10 more neighbors. And then you just circle that neighborhood. I mean, that can go on forever every time you sell a house.
Right.
So that's just one example. Or every person you're engaged with. I just met Caitlin today, showing her a house. I should probably send her a thank you card. It was
Yeah.
so nice meeting you. After you leave a listing appointment, I should thank them for having me. And then thank you for listing with me. I mean, there's just endless people that you can be sending handwritten note cards
Yep.
to. Utilize the 10-5-1 model for social media engagement.
Anybody know what those numbers are?
Tell us.
10 likes, 5 comments, and 1 direct message. So a kind of a daily, all right, yeah, I'm hopping on, and don't spend. Way too many realtors spend way too much time on social media. It's about doing rather than just hanging out there. Okay, I'm hopping on, I'm gonna like 10 different posts, I'm gonna make 5 different comments, which is a higher level of engagement. And then for one person, you know, whether it's they said something or they went on a remarkable vacation or whatever, sending them a direct message, hey, hope you're doing well, you know, it's a more intentional.
I'll give you another little tip too. Every time I comment, I also ask a question because it looks for them to re-engage with you. So, wow, your dog's so cute. What kind is it? And then they re-engage. And also that kicks up the algorithm so that you'll show up more on their stream or feed because they engaged in conversation with you. This was another exercise we did in Bold. And one of the things I did was got on Facebook and looked at someone's post, and I text her, and it was a past client of mine, and I said, oh my gosh, your daughter's gotten so big, look at her beautiful horse. And she said, oh my God, thank you so much for reaching out. I'm actually going to be in Canton next week, and I would love to see you for coffee. She's asking me for coffee,
Mhm,
not me asking her for coffee.
mhm.
So just because I didn't only comment on, I actually text her
Yeah,
from it.
that's even better.
Huge
Yep.
difference, and I've helped her buy and sell a few houses. So that would be an exercise that you can start focusing on. So when we talk about, we're giving you the tools and the ideas, and how am I gonna spend? And I know Brendan's a good example of this one, because he said it was life changing when he was in one of my classes, and I said, if this is my full-time job, how am I spending 8 hours? So oftentimes people say I'm full-time in real estate. And my question then is, how are you spending 8 hours a day?
Mhm.
And I get a very strange look.
Mhm.
You can't just say you're full-time in real estate because it's your only job, by the way. Dual career people can still be full-time in real estate,
Right,
right?
yeah, and you can be part-time in real estate and have it be your only job, you know.
Exactly. So part-time in real estate, 4 hours, 5 days a week.
Mhm.
And you need to be spending a good portion of that doing things to generate business for yourself. And by the way, most of this is free. By most, I mean the handwritten note cards are gonna be a little bit of cost, right?
Right. One quick note, as you look at this, I don't know what enrichments are, so I'm just gonna
Yeah.
breeze through that. But you'll notice that the appointments, agreements, and closings are in a different shade of gray. Anyone want to guess why that is? Preston?
Because the darker gray leads to those, maybe?
Yes, I cannot just go on an appointment. I can't control the appointment. I can't, you know, we brag about how many closings we had in a given month or whatever. You can't control your closings. You know, once you get under contract, there's things you can do. But the different colors are for you to say, gosh, I want to be a full-time agent. I want to be committed to this, but what should I do today? That's your answer. Don't get cute. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Like that's your answer. And once you do that, then we can explore other things. But it really is simple habits over time that lead to good
And it
results.
becomes a measure when you're tracking this of how many calls do I need to make to create how many appointments that create how many sales. So I need to go on this number of appointments every single week or every single month to be able to, it's the same way you do backwards with the expenses. I need to do this many things, making phone calls, reaching out to get this many appointments, which will then bring this many sales.
Let's talk about powerful conversations, Gina.
So again, who do I call? Well, start easy. We're not going to start with grabbing the white pages and sitting in an office, which we know some people have done, and starting to call. That's truly cold calling. You're going to start with warm calls to people that you know, my sphere of influence or my SOI, as we call it. And what are you going to say? So like, that's one of those things where people will say, gosh, how do I call someone I know and say, do you want to buy or sell a house? Like, that's not the script, guys. That's not the script. So you don't have to feel worried that you're trying, you're sounding salesy or, yes, when you first get in the business, you might be calling your SOI to say, hey, I just got into real estate and I wanted to let you know. So if you know of anyone who's ever thinking about buying or selling, that's your first call script. But we have to stay engaged with our sphere. We have to reach out to them. Your sphere of influence should be in your database. So when you're thinking about adding 10 new people a day, if you're starting from the beginning, there's your 10. I know
Yeah.
10 people and I'm going to start with them. And I'm going to find their information. I've got their phone number. And if you've ever emailed them from your phone, it somehow just magically also appears in your phone. So you can do that.
Let me jump in real quick here.
Yeah.
So the, in your workbooks here, the activity starting on page 1.18. As you think about, gosh, who should I call or where do I begin with this? We're not going to do this now in the interest of time, but I would encourage you to do that this afternoon. So one, who do you know that's going through a life event that might lead to a move? Death of a loved one, divorce, marriage, job, kids moving off to college and maybe their footprint needs aren't as what they used to be. Second, for a lot of you, who does not yet know that you're a real estate agent? You might be embarrassed because you don't know the answer to every question, but every person that you know needs to know that you're a real estate agent. And so who are the top few people that come to mind that would benefit from that? Who have you not spoken to in the last 2 weeks? Probably most of the people that you know. Not sure what that question's about, but yeah, exactly. Gosh, I'm trying. And then over here, so this is, I'll just jump in here, Gina. The average person moves every 7 to 10 years. And Gary will say, we're in the relationship business until somebody has a real estate need. You're not in that home sales business, you're in the relationship business. And the more you get that, the more that you drive that home with your daily habits, the quicker that you're going to win. So this basically illustrates, all right, at the peak is them moving. What happens everywhere in between? And our job is to be the person that, if you're in this business for 30 years, they think of you every time they choose to move because you've stayed in touch with them. So the next line of questions, who has recently moved? Who may be thinking of moving soon? Who is somewhere in the middle? Just helps you to chart out. And as you develop habits around your database, making notes, hey, they've moved, whether they bought and sold with me isn't relevant. I know that they bought a house 3 years ago based upon social media or because they're my neighbor or whatever. That's going to help me think. I've moved a lot faster than this. And if you're younger, your averages are probably much higher. Mine's like every 1.2 years in my adult life. Don't recommend. But that helps kind of how to engage with folks. Gina, you want to talk about Ford?
Yep. So we of course can't wait though 7 to 10 years for everyone we know to buy and sell.
Right.
What we need from them meanwhile are their referrals. And of course that they remember nothing worse than your friend. And I know some people even in this room have used the example of a friend calling them saying, guess what? I bought a house. And you're like, what happened? Oh my gosh. And because you don't want to sound salesy, you've got to have some scripts and some things to talk about. And that's where that engagement and having that relationship is. And then you sprinkle in the real estate. It's just like on your social media, you're sprinkling in the real estate. You're not just hitting it hard with just real estate. So the Ford script's a great guide. You can always fall back on Ford. There's other things that you can call people about, inviting them to things. Congratulations on things that go on in their life or seasonal things like the holidays, but Ford's that fallback, don't know what to say. I've not talked to this person in a couple months and I don't know what to say. I don't have a topic. So Ford's going to be that fallback. So Ford stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So, hey, Mark, it's Gina. Just wanted to call to see how things are going. I haven't talked to you in a while and I was driving around your neighborhood while I was showing houses. That's how I sprinkle in the real estate. And I wonder how the family was doing.
We're doing great. Busy, back to school. Our oldest is sick right now, which is annoying, but yeah, kids are growing up so fast.
Oh, no, it
Truthfully.
is that time of the year when they're at school and getting sick, so.
Mhm.
I know the last time we talked, you were talking about a new job that you were gonna get, so how'd
Yeah,
that go?
yeah, great. Yeah, I'm 6 months into it now and learning a lot, but it's going better than I expected.
Wow, that's really great. Yeah, I'm booming at my job right now. Things are great in the market and I've been selling like crazy.
That's
and
awesome. Yeah, I've heard that market's crazy right now. Like, how are you handling that?
So busy and I love it, but yeah, things are definitely picking up and I will say this, my coaching business is going fabulously.
Mhm.
While business and real estate slows down seasonally, I definitely am going in that direction too. I know your wife had expressed interest in real estate. You better pass her along my way if she ever decides to take the plunge.
Keep that in mind.
I know you guys went on vacation like last month. I think, gosh, it's September already, so maybe
Yes.
it was July.
Yes, we
I
did.
saw. Where was that?
We went to Norway. It was
Oh, that's
amazing.
right. I
Yeah.
saw those pictures. I knew it was some other country.
Yes.
I wasn't sure where though. That looked fabulous. What made you guys decide to go there?
You know, my heritage is from there generations back and I'd never visited before, so I
Wow.
thought it'd be fun.
Was it amazing?
It was, it really was. Strong recommend, true story.
That's awesome. Well, I know also that, you know, you had mentioned that you were gonna be moving your parents from out of state. And you guys were building a house with the in-law suite sometime. And I wondered how you were, you know, how that was plugging along. I know that you were thinking, you know, maybe we would find some land at some point and would love to have an in-law suite with them.
Yeah, we'd still like to. We're realizing that it's a larger financial commitment than we originally thought. So we're not close, but it's still in view.
Well, that would be so exciting to have them with you. I know how important that is to you.
Mhm.
Well, hey, I won't take any more of your time. It was so great chatting with you. I just thought about you when I drove by and saw the kids' bikes on the lawn, and I thought I'd give you a call and say hello.
That was great. And with Ford, you don't have to do all four. She did.
Yeah, well, I wanted to roll through it.
Yeah, but it's like, I think sometimes we think, oh, I don't have a real estate reason to call. Like, hey, I was just calling to check in. Like, that can be it. You don't need to say like, would you like to hear about interest rates in
Right.
this environment?
I would
Like,
never say that.
and they may ask that, like, oh, it's crazy. Like, are people able to, are you helping people buy right now? I've heard it's hard for buyer. Oh, like, sure, I'll answer that question, but it's not, you're not with the people that you know,
Right.
you're not trying to find a way to weasel real estate in
No.
unless they bring it up. Now, with people that you don't know, the need to get to real estate faster is going to be more important.
It's just a connect. It's to keep you in front of them.
Did that feel, I mean, obviously that was,
Well, I
Well
run through
played.
each one so you can get an example, but so it seemed a little robotic that way.
but I think so many, like one of the biggest things is I don't know what to say. I would call people, I like people, but I don't know what to say. And my hope is that demystified, like that was a normal-ish type of conversation that anyone can have. Yeah, go ahead.
It's more about keeping you top of mind
Yeah,
Yes.
than it is you saying, and by the way, if you know of anyone, please send them. my way."
That's right.
Follow-up is so important.
that's right.
It's not just a reach out next time.
That's right,
Right.
because in addition to this call, I have mailed things to them throughout the
Yeah.
year. I have popped by with a mom in the fall. I have gone to coffee maybe. So there's other things in your drip campaign. I also maybe have them on a monthly newsletter from me. So this is not, you know, the first touch.
It is 10:55 and I want to make sure we're respecting everyone's time. So that concludes the formal thing. What we'll do is do a mute and on within each individual office, talk about what are a couple ahas, what's something that you can do today to help move you forward. And then we'll reconvene here as hosts tomorrow and Thursday before shifting to a different office next week. So chat amongst your office for a few minutes.
Have a great day, everyone.